neverquitmath.com. Let's go. So today we're doing solving for x with multiplication. Alright, it's just multiplication here because as you're going to see later on, the way we do it with multiplication works for division as well. It's two main steps. First step is just like addition and subtraction. To solve for x or any variable is just a letter, you must get rid of all the numbers on the same side as x. That's straightforward. So in other words, we want x by itself. Okay. Secondly, multiply by the reciprocal of the number connected to x. When I say connected to x, it's like the coefficient, and you do that multiplication on both sides. Okay, so let's go through some problems, and after we go through some problems, you can go back and check what you wrote down, which is these two steps, and you see how they make sense. Okay. So first things first, let's make sure we got down this concept of reciprocal, okay? So let's just say we got 4 right here, right? What's the reciprocal of 4? Reciprocal is really when you're flipping over the fraction. So any whole number, 4, is really equal to 4 over 1, right? So the reciprocal of 4 over 1 is going to be equal to 1 over 4. Got it. Another thing, so let's just say we have something like 1 over 7. The reciprocal of 1 over 7 is the flip of the fraction, so that's equal to 7 over 1, which is really just equal to 7, right? Either or. Got it? Last but not least, if you have something like 2 over 5, the reciprocal of 2 over 5 is really equal to 5 over 2, right? Which is really equal to just 5 over 2. Leave it as so. And what you have to keep in mind when you're doing this multiplication is you have to know that any number over the same number is equal to 1. What do I mean by that? 4 over 4 is equal to 1. 5 over 5 is equal to 1. Even, let's just say, negative 6 over negative 6, that's equal to 1. Even if you have letters, A over A is equal to 1. B over B is equal to 1. Math over math is equal to 1. Alright? So that's the simple thing. Understand the reciprocal is just the flip of the fraction, and any whole number is a fraction of 4 over 1. Once you got this concept down, you'll notice it's going to be easy to solve for x using multiplication. Alright? (3x) is equal to 12. Looking at this question, we're thinking in our heads like, okay, 3x is equal to 12. We can easily guess the answer. But let's do it as if there was huge numbers here and we could not guess the answer. What steps would we take then? Okay, steps are pretty simple. You look at 3. 3 is connected to x through multiplication, right? So what we want to do, we want to multiply by the reciprocal of 3. So let me put my 3 to the side right here. 3 is really equal to 3 over 1. So the reciprocal of 3 over 1 is the flip of that, is equal to 1 over 3. So now I'm just going to multiply by 1 over 3 on both sides. So put 1 over 3 here, and then I put 1 over 3 here. So as we know from multiplying fractions before, we're going to have 1 over 3 times 3 over 1 in parentheses x, which is going to be equal to 12 over 1 times 1 over 3. Got it? 3 times 1, 3. 3 times 1 is 3, or 1 times 3 rather, times x. 12 times 1 is 12. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 over 3 is always equal to what? Any number over itself always equals to 1. So we really have 1x, which is going to be equal to 12 divided by 3, we know is equal to 4. So we got x equals to 4. Make sense? Just like that. Let's do another problem over here. So let's try a different type. Okay, so this would be the steps that you follow with a regular whole number, but now let's say we had x over some number. Say we got x over 5, right? And x over 5 is equal to 6, right? So the way we look at it, we say x over 5. So we would say the 5 is connected to it, but whenever you have x over a number, that's the same thing as if x over 5 right here. That's the same thing as if we had 1 over 5 times x. These are equivalent because when you multiply them through, this becomes 1 over 5 times x over 1, which becomes x over 5. Make sense? So you see how those are equivalent? So whenever we have those, we want to separate them out and to make it to 1 over 5. So if you got x over any number, always just separate it out and do 1 over 5 times x is equal to 6. So then from here we say, hey, 1 over 5 is connected through x through multiplication, right? So we want to multiply by the reciprocal of 1 over 5. So I go to the side over here and I say 1 over 5. What's the reciprocal of that? That's equal to my reciprocal, 5 over 1. So say, hey, if my reciprocal is 5 over 1, so that's when I'm multiplying both sides. So now I say 5 over 1 in my parentheses times 1 over 5, x is equal to 6 times, again, 5 over 1. Doing my multiplication, I did 5 over 5, x is going to be equal to 6 times 5 is going to be equal to 30 over 1, right? How did I get this 30 over 1? We know this is really equal to 6 over 1 times 5 over 1. 6 times 5 gave us 30, 1 times 1 gave us 1. So from here, we know this, any number over itself is going to be 1x. So we got 1x is going to be equal to 30. And that's the same thing as x equals to 30. Got it?